I have decided something. What have you decided? I have decided
that
when we're born, we have a mommy and daddy, right? And then when we grow up and get married, we have children of our own. And then our children grow up and get married and have children. And so on and so on. So it's very important and very fun also to
Hi, you're listening to Interesting Sex Podcast, a podcast about who, how, where, and why we fuck. I'm Miranda, your host, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for being here. I have a really great guest today. His name is Sir Mondo. You can find him on Instagram under Sir_Mondo_ to check out his stuff. We talked to him about fire play, about needle play, about dominance, about being a pro dom and doing it for a living, and lots of other cool stuff. So I hope you enjoy the episode as much as I do. Please rate and subscribe and keep telling your friends about it because I'm a baby new podcast and I want to get lots and lots of listeners so we can help change the conversation and I'll be a little bit more open with who we are. Thank you so much, guys. Let's open our ears, our hearts, and our holes and give a nice warm welcome to Sir Mondo.
Hello.
Hi, is this Sir Mondo?
Yes, it is.
Hi, this is Miranda calling from Interesting Sex.
Hey, what's up, Miranda?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great.
Are you feeling interesting today?
Yeah, I am. I'm ready for this.
Are you feeling sexy today?
Oh, I always feel sexy.
Oh, yeah? Do you just wake up and touch yourself and say, I'm sexy?
Sometimes, sometimes I'm always feeling myself. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of guys masturbate as soon as they wake up.
I can't say it's all the time, but
okay.
I have my girlfriend here too, so that helps a lot.
Right. Okay. That sounds good. All right. So that was fun. Let's just get started and tell us your name, who you are, how you identify as a person, and how you identify sexually.
Okay. Well, actually, my name is Sir Mondo. I'm actually a professional dom out of Ladies Wicked Playground in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I was born male. I identify as male. I'm straight, even though I guess you can say, a phrase that's coming around is hetero-flexible because I actually do, in my profession, I do play with a lot of men. But as far as being sexually attracted to anybody, I'm only really sexually attracted to women. So,
but you only play with men when you're getting paid to play with men?
Not all the time. Sometimes I do it for fun. It's really all about the energy exchange for me. Okay.
But it's not, there's not sexual penetration when it's with men?
No.
Okay.
There's nothing like that.
Okay. So you're a sir. That's because you're a dom?
Yes, I am a dominant. I actually have a submissive of my own, so that
of your own?
Yes. So
you guys live in a 24/7 lifestyle?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So what that really means is, say, if you were to go and actually play with somebody, there's negotiations from the very beginning to the end of the scene. So after the scene is over, the negotiations are now over. My submissive and I actually live together. She's my girlfriend, she's my submissive, and we actually negotiate terms of life, and there really is no it's over anymore.
Right. So your scene is an ongoing life scene.
Yes.
And then there's scenes within the scene.
Oh yeah. We play and we take things to all new levels.
Right. It's like Shakespearean because he has plays within his plays.
Yes, absolutely.
I like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was checking you out and it seems like you're that there's not much that you're not into. Looks like you do some impact. I saw you do some wax, rope, even needles. It seems like there's not much that you don't do.
I love to experiment and push my own limits as much as I like to push other people's as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, if there's something that I find interesting, I'm going to try it, and then I try to make it my own in my own style, and I just try to. I don't know. I try to be as good as I can at everything that I can. So
that's a good goal to have.
I strive to be the best at everything that I can be.
Right. Because some people tell me, like, pick one thing, Miranda. Like, you do too many things. Pick one thing and be really good at that one thing instead of doing like 20 things. But it's like, but I like to do all the things.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I don't like to limit myself.
Right.
And I didn't
mean
like
sexually, though. I just meant in general.
Yeah, no, it could be sexually. It could be about, like I graduated with my degree in mathematics, and it ended up, when I did that, I graduated one of the top of my class. And it's just, I try to be the best at what I can be with whatever I'm doing. So I'm on the same page.
Do you ever do role play where like you're the teacher or like or you're like the tutor and you come over to help somebody with their math homework?
Yeah, actually, I have done that one before. That was actually a lot of fun.
Me too. That's like my favorite. I even printed out like math worksheets one time, and the guy was so stressed to like teach me the math because he wasn't good at math, and I'm like, don't teach me the math. And I was like, we couldn't even do it because he was like too stressed about it. And I'm like, never mind.
Yeah, the person that I did it with was not interested in math whatsoever. They weren't even looking at the paper.
Right. I love math. If we did that together, we probably wouldn't even get to the sex part because we'd like actually be enjoying the math so much.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I enjoy a lot of things though. So, I mean, I've actually tried it in real life where it was with an attractive girl that was actually into me as well. We didn't do much studying.
Okay, so it was like real life tutor, sexy time too. That's fun. Where did you you graduated from college and then you decided to not really, I mean, nobody really ends up doing that much with their major anyway, I guess.
Well, you know what? I'm glad I went through college. I'm glad it taught me how to think outside of the box in a lot of different things.
Right. And now you like to think inside the box.
Yeah, sometimes. But you know what, though? I mean, it did teach me a whole broad perspective on a lot of different outlooks of different parts.
And now you like broads. Sorry. I shouldn't have had chocolate before the interview. Sorry, go ahead. I'm glad you went to college, too.
Yeah. I mean, like, but what it really taught me was just how to see, like, especially with all the logic, basically it was an applied logic degree. So it taught me a lot of different ways to look at different things and basically to approach life in all different ways. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, but I was always one to really kind of chase, like, follow. I was very emotionally driven my whole life. Okay. So getting into something like this just came naturally to me. Okay. So, but
what do you mean emotionally driven?
Emotionally driven. So intimacy, a lot of, I was always an adrenaline junkie. I was always chasing what I felt rather than what I thought was best from society.
Okay. That's cool. Were you like a skateboarder?
No. I actually played sports my whole life.
Okay. So, and that's where you got a lot of your adrenaline from?
I guess so. But then, I got a lot of my adrenaline from getting in trouble when I was young, too. Okay. So,
what kind of troublemaker were you?
I remember, when I was young, I ended up hanging out with a crowd where we were always causing ruckus, throwing snowballs at cars. And then we were always trying to, when we got old enough and we had paintball guns and not rifles, like assault rifles, we were always pushing each other and shooting each other with things. I remember lighting myself on fire when I was 15.
Whoa.
Yeah, I ended up in the hospital with third-degree burns with that one.
Do you still have scars?
No, surprisingly, they healed.
Okay.
I'm surprised. It was like 15% of my body too.
Wow.
But it was crazy.
Thank God not on that adorable face of yours.
Well, thank you.
So is Mondo your name, or that's just like your stage name?
Well, it's actually a stage name. So Mondo was actually a nickname that I got when I was young. It was given to me by my dad, kind of, and I just never, like, after a while, it just started to become, people just started calling me Mondo, and I don't know, it was, I never thought it would become what it was.
Right.
But
like, do you know why he called you that?
Yeah, it was, well, my real name, well, I don't like to say it, but
Okay.
my real name's Craig.
Okay.
And he was just joking around, and he used to call me, "Hey, Craig Mondo," and it was just Mondo.
Oh.
It was just, he was just being cool. He was being that cool dad.
Right.
So, and he just after a while, it just became Mondo.
Right.
I don't know.
Where are you from?
I was born and raised in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And last year I moved down to Allentown, and I've lived a lot of different places, but right now I'm actually from Allentown.
Okay. And where did you find that submissive of yours?
She reached out to me on FetLife. She actually moved here from St. Louis.
Okay.
And she ended up reaching out to me. She was generally
to Allentown. She moved to Allentown from St. Louis.
Yeah, family.
Okay.
So she ended up moving out here. She ended up getting out of a relationship, and she was on FetLife. She saw a couple posts of mine on some of the local groups. She reached out to me because I guess she thought I was cute, and she just started asking me questions. And I don't know, we went to lunch one day, and ended up she was just kind of in my life after that.
Okay.
So it just kind of formed naturally.
Okay. When I have talked to some girl doms, they don't actually let the guys or the people that they're doming over, like, touch them. Is it different when you're a guy?
Touch in what way?
Like, do you give them like orgasms and stuff?
It depends on who I'm playing with.
Right.
I don't normally go the sexual route if it's in a paid session, because there's rules, there's laws. I don't want to get in trouble. This is my career. This is how I eat. So I can't do that with people.
Right.
But say if
you just said this is how I eat, I just can't let that
go. I don't eat that kind of, but anyway,
not in the paid sessions.
When I actually play with certain people, if there's attraction, there's attraction, but the main thing is it's all about negotiation. So if we were to say okay, so my submissive, yes, we do things sexually. I mean, she's the girl that I love. She's my girlfriend. She lives with me.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have our boundaries and negotiations set. But say if I'm actually just meeting somebody for the first time and I'm playing with them, no, normally. Sex to me breeds a lot of emotions that I don't like, mixed with BDSM, that I get worried because I from learning the hard way, it breeds a lot of emotions that a lot of people don't know how to handle. So I'm very careful and I'm very cautious about that kind of thing.
Right.
So, but you know what? There are times that, BDSM, I mean, yes, a lot of times it could go sexual, but a lot of times it's really just about the release of endorphins and adrenaline and the intimacy and the closeness that it brings to people.
Right.
So normally in like a session, I don't normally let them touch me because it's just more of a dominant thing and actually putting them in their place. And it's just the power aspect of things. But sometimes if they just kind of touch me because it's a reaction, like they grab my leg or they grab my arm, then I mean, I'm not really going to hold that against them too much, but
Yeah.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah. Okay. So how did you go from math to sex work?
A long chain of unfortunate events, really. But you know what? It all came out in the end to be better than anything that I have ever done. I ended up graduating from college. I ended up having a general mathematics degree, and I didn't have any training in, say, computers, or I didn't have any training in logistics, or I didn't, it was just a basic general math degree. So right out of college with my bachelor's, I had a lot of trouble finding any type of work with my degree where I was actually able to apply it. So after so long, I was just working in sales. I was working in manual labor. I was doing landscaping for a while. But after so long, I just realized I wasn't happy. So I'm terrible at working for somebody. I always have been. So I got fired from a couple different jobs. My last one, I was just kind of through with it. And at that point, I was really getting involved with Ladies Wicked Playground, my home club. And at some point, I just kind of decided that I was ready, and I've been doing this since I was intimate with women when I was like 17, 18. And I don't know, I just kind of decided I was pulled into a couple different sessions. I was pulled into a couple of different sessions with one of the mistresses, and I decided that, you know what, hey, why not? I can do this, and it makes me happy. So I just started marketing myself, and now I do it professionally, and I travel the country with the club now. So, I mean, I'm in a really good position now. And
That's right.
Yeah.
When you said that you were involved with this ever since you were involved with women, does that mean you were always into power play, or you were into like physical impact play ever since you started, or how did that start for you? Yeah.
When I first started with women, I remember, I consider myself a sensualist. So what I always try to do is I always try to introduce as much closeness and intimacy and just basically add the sensual aspects of sex and just without the sex to someone. So what my main goal is for a lot of things is really just to harness that butterfly feeling that you might get and build it up into your stomach and spread it throughout your whole body. That's really my main goal with everybody. And it's almost like a roller coaster ride. So I'm constantly trying to evolve, and I'm constantly trying to find new ways of doing this. And it's not always that way, but you know what? This is what I enjoy the most. So ever since I was young, yes, this is what I started to do, and I realized that I was very empathic when I was younger. So I was able to feel a lot of emotions and feel a lot of feelings coming off of somebody that it took me a long time to really understand what was going on. Since then, I've been able to really control it and actually project my own energy and actually build it up into people and actually give an experience that I like to consider really, really unique and really enjoy. It sounds
kind of a little Reiki-ish. Have you ever done Reiki?
It's funny you say that. I'm actually training.
Okay. That's super cool. But that sounds kind of like putting your energy into someone else. It sounds like a similar experience. So that's really cool. You try to bring things like that into the kink environment.
Yeah, so it all goes hand in hand. And you know what? Whenever I'm doing, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I always incorporate the sensual aspect of things into all of my scenes.
So how do you start with somebody? Like if you're starting like sensualness and closeness, does it start with just like really light touch or holding, or what does that look like?
Honestly, I have to say that my hands are the most important and the most powerful tool that I have of anything else that I use. Yeah, I have floggers, and sometimes I do a lot of fire play, and sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm skilled with whips, and I tie people up. But really, what it comes down to when you get rid of all of it is it's just about the connection between two people. And when I just use my hands for a lot of it. The first thing I do is I start off with light touch just to see where exactly they're at emotionally, and just really, if they're super overwhelmed or if they're super scared, I'm going to pick up on all of that. So I know what direction I can go into.
And then also probably as you're rubbing your hands on different parts of them, you can see what parts their body reacts to.
Absolutely.
And you're like, that spot right there made her move a little.
And at first I usually stick to the 7 erogenous zones of, say, a woman's body.
What are the 7 erogenous zones?
So let me see. Okay, so the mouth, the lips, the ears, the neck, the breasts, the butt, the inner thighs, and, well, obviously the clit or the pussy.
Right.
I don't know if that's okay to say on here.
You can say whatever you want.
Okay. So
I haven't got in trouble yet, so I don't really know the rules, but there's a little E next to my podcast, so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So if you just basically stick to those zones,
right,
you're bound to get some sort of reaction in a good way.
Right.
But there are also other places. Normally, like wherever there are nerve bundles, really, wherever the skin is a little more sensitive, like the wrists and like the other, like the fold in your arm, where, like, on the other side of the elbow, or
right,
just the back of the knees, or just all over the body, there are nerve bundles that you can actually just kind of focus on, and you're bound to get some sort of reaction off of mostly anybody,
right,
as long as they're
That's
not
a
shutting
fun word.
you up.
Nerve bundles.
Yeah. But that's usually where I like to stick to, just to see what gets people going.
Right.
And that's, I don't know. I don't know. It just comes naturally after a while. But.
Right. So I want to ask you some questions about needle play. Is that cool?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I've talked to somebody before. He's really cool. His name is Tom Hill, and he does like crazy needle, like art pieces that are beautiful. When I talked to him, I don't think I had as much awareness about kink and purpose of kink and everything too. So I don't think I had as many questions then as I do now about needle play specifically. So I was at like a club recently, and kind of like, it was like one of those nights where it's like, there's all sorts of things happening. And I was kind of like looking around, and somebody was getting like needles like in their leg. And then she was like, I think it's good to stop now. And then I was like, what does that really do?
Okay. So,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it could do different things for different people. But for myself, it gives me an incredible adrenaline rush to do it to somebody, because, I'm sticking needles in someone. It's intense. But the feeling that I also bottom for it once in a while, because I actually enjoy it done to me as well. So I like to experience mainly everything that I do firsthand. But when I actually have needles done to me, and actually my submissive actually says it's the same way for her, after you stick one or two into your leg, like say in your leg or in your back, or
let's just stick with the thigh. Let's say thigh.
So in the thigh. So it doesn't matter where, but after you put a needle into you, it starts to release endorphins. And
why?
That's just the natural body's reaction. It starts to release endorphins. Do you
think it's like fear though, or just because the sensation of like some sort of pain?
Well, I think it is the pain. It's very similar to, say, someone that cuts their wrist. So they do that for an endorphin release and feel good and feel happy.
Right.
For me, it releases a lot of different chemicals in the brain, though. One being adrenaline, one being endorphins, one being serotonin, melatonin. But basically, what the effect that I get from it is my eyes roll back into the back of my head, and I start talking like I have a mouthful of marbles, and it feels like I just took a shot of morphine. And it's just an incredible natural body high, and I feel like I'm just floating. and it puts me in a completely deep meditative state that I can't get any other way. And really, though, it gives you a complete body high. Now, you have to get past the fact that you have a needle inside you. And if you don't like that feeling, you don't like that feeling. And you have to be able to let your mind go. So if you're shutting it all out, then you're not going to be able to have the same experience. But if you're able to relax yourself, then it's a completely therapeutic body high because of the release of endorphins and all the other chemicals that come with it.
How many needles do you get to get there?
Actually, for the first time I experienced it, I had 4.
Okay.
And I started feeling the effects after 2. So the first time I did it, now I can probably do 30 some without actually stopping. But like, you build yourself up after a while, but it's just, like I said, it all depends on the person.
Right. Does your intensity does the meditative intensity get more as you get more needles, or does it take more needles to get you to the same space as you get used to it, or do you just like pressing your limits at the same time?
It's a little bit of all of that.
Okay.
I like to push my limits. So I like to try to go above and beyond what I've done before. So, but the only thing is that if I do 2 and I'm starting to feel the effects of the high, it eventually wears off after a few minutes, or either that or you start to get used to it, one of the two. So you put in, like, when you do another one, it kind of picks you back up to that level again until you drop a little bit more. Then another one will bring you back up. And you just kind of, after so long, you do more and more just to kind of maintain that headspace.
Like whippets.
Yeah, kind of like that. But man, I don't even want to get it started with those. But
I didn't try that until I was like 35, and I was like, "Wow, this is weird."
You know, I remember when I was actually working in a grocery store when I was 16. I did the whole case of them, and I ended up passing out in the dairy cooler back in the grocery store.
You were a troublemaker.
No, I ended up always trying to find a new high, and I got, one thing progressed to another before I realized that it was just really killing myself.
Right.
But
do you do substances now?
No, actually, I've been clean for over 5 years.
Amazing.
So,
and I saw you quit smoking over a year ago now.
Yes, that
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So now BDSM is kind of like your new ways of finding like highs and exploring your body and emotions through physicality. Yeah,
BDSM saved my life. I will definitely say that. Without it, I wasn't. I a lot of times live by the expression to feed your demons. So we all have them. It's almost impossible to get rid of them. And you know what? Eventually they all come out to play. So if you just kind of satisfy them in a very healthy way, then you can live with the stresses of life, but you could also have your fun, and you could have your release and have everything as well. So so BDSM, I don't know. I like my adrenaline rush, so I can negotiate a safe way to go about it rather than going out and getting high and possibly getting high on cocaine, where I can actually just get a rush from, actually having an incredible intense scene, and I can get an adrenaline rush that way. And that's just one example. But we all, like I said, we all have our demons. I like to feed my demons.
Right.
So.
I like to feed my snack. I like to snack.
Oh, food is wonderful. Food is wonderful.
I have a guilty pleasure for Cheez-Its.
Oh, mine's brownies and pancakes.
Okay. Okay, so when you said BDSM saved your life, were you like a bad addict and stuff, or how did it save you?
I wouldn't say I was as bad of an addict as some of them that I've seen, but I do know that I was making bad choices. and a lot of them revolved around getting my rush from substances and everything that came with it, like escorts and just living a fast life of money. And it came and it went just as fast, and I wasn't healthy. I guess
you're just throwing everything away.
Yeah, I was.
And now you're in a career where you're moving forward.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember when I was 24, I got my second DUI, and I was losing every relationship in my life because it was just, I don't know. It was just, I wasn't mentally able to handle it all.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't me. I was taken over by a lot of the substances. Now, I was able to throw it away because I identified what I was actually looking for. I was looking for the rush. I was looking for for other things that I was able to easily replace it with. But I never really physically got hooked as bad as other people.
Okay.
I was able to throw it away.
Before it got too bad.
Yeah.
It could have gotten worse if you didn't make those realizations.
Absolutely. Yes.
What kind of, you know how you said you and your submissive have like a set kind of plan or negotiations or whatever in your life?
Yes.
What kind of things is that?
Okay, so we live together, and we actually establish rules, and we establish little rituals that we do every day. Like, one of our rituals is really just our collaring ritual. So every day she comes home from work, and she comes by and she presents her collar to me. She reminds me of one thing it really represents to her. And it really is, and then I take it, I put it on her as she holds her hair back. It makes it easier for me to actually put on her. I remind her of why we're doing this and what it means to me. And for 2 seconds every day, we are put back into that mindset, even if the regular stresses of life get to us. And we remind ourselves about why we're actually doing this. And you know what? We have an incredible power flow of relationships. So a lot of people use the power exchange phrase. I don't like that. I like to say a power flow because we're actually both feeding into our relationship. She gives me responsibilities of her own that she does not feel comfortable with dealing with on her own, like say finances, or just who she interacts with, like on a play level, or because she trusts my intuition on people a little bit better. So I take those responsibilities off of her hand.
What if I don't feel like comfortable like taking out the trash? It's like my least favorite chore.
Well, I mean, with the modern chores, we kind of help out the house. I mean, but I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that.
Okay.
But in exchange, what she does for me is she actually helps me, like say, if I'm getting swamped with work, like, she just helps me out a little bit with that, or she takes care of the house because I don't have time, or she, we have rules set, where my first rule for this relationship, because because I know from my past experiences, was that the number one rule is that if we have an issue with something, we do not come in, we do not fight about it, because fighting is only going to breed more toxicity. And if we try to settle a dispute by arguing and yelling at each other, nothing gets solved, and then we're just mad at each other, and then it just spirals, and because we're both very headstrong people. And another one would be lying, because it only breeds more hate. And you know what? If I found out that I can't trust her, then I don't know what I would do. So if there are rules that we have set in place that we both follow, just to basically promote a healthier lifestyle of living day to day. And Without those rules, I mean, that also comes with punishments. So, I mean, there's a clearly defined, there are clearly defined disciplinary actions for them. So, once they're taken care of, we move past them. We don't look back at them. We just move on.
You know what I'm going to ask you, so just
elaborate. What do I do when the rules are broken?
Yeah.
I'm glad you.
And what happens when you break the rules?
Okay, so what happens when the top or the dominant breaks their rules? So this is a very hard question because I'm very headstrong and I don't like to swallow my pride. But first thing that I have to do is really admit that I'm wrong. And from there, I have to sometimes, it depends on the severity of it. Sometimes it really comes back to communication, and it comes back to reevaluating things that we've already set in place and talk about where we can go from here and where we can fix things. Now, what do I do to punish myself? I believe that, it's only really fair to be able to sit here and, basically take care of her for a few days, take some chores off of her hand, let her relax, give her, let her go out and do whatever she wants for a couple of days while I take care of her chores and she can, work a little bit harder at the relationship. Or maybe sometimes I have to take some privileges away from myself, just to kind of remind myself that, this could all be taken away in a second. And another thing that I talked about was that every time when I screw up,
like if you hurt her enough and she could be gone, so you need to take extra time to appreciate what she does for you and how you affected it by your choices.
Absolutely, because you know what? In the end, submission is not a sign of weakness. Just because I'm a dominant and it's it sounds like the stronger position in this relationship. In ways it is, but in ways it's really not. Submission is actually one of the strongest things you can possibly do for anybody. So, being a submissive, you're completely giving up this control over certain aspects of your life or completely to one person. And you are actually giving this, you're giving this gift to one person where, I don't know, like you have to, like, it takes a very strong person to be able to completely give up all control just in trust that you're not going to be let down. So
that's terrifying.
It really is. It's something that I have problems with.
Right.
I have a lot of issues giving up control.
Right.
And you're just actually giving this away in hopes that they're going to take care of you and actually not hold it against you or hurt you because of it, because you're actually making yourself completely vulnerable. You have to be I, as a dominant, have to be completely aware of that. So when I do break my rules that I set in place for the benefit of the relationship as a whole, I see how upset she gets, and I get crushed. So that, in a way, is a punishment in its own, but it can't be. Sometimes
that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be fair. So sometimes I have to do a little extra. Sometimes I have to take some chores off of her hands. Sometimes I have to, maybe just spoil her a little bit. Maybe give her a back rub for a couple nights in a row. Maybe, just to show her that I really do care and I'm really sorry.
Yeah. What do you think the difference is, though, like between that and what a regular healthy relationship should be?
To be honest with you, we have our guidelines and we follow them.
Yeah.
In every vanilla relationship that I've been in, and by vanilla, all I mean is not kinky.
Right. I feel like that should be something that vanilla relationships do.
I think that. Yeah, honestly, the most important aspect comes down to communication. We talk about everything. We talk about, every single thing that makes us upset. We talk about everything that we think that, is harmful. We talk about everything, like even negative viewpoints about each other. Like, look, this isn't working for me. You need to really change something. And you know what? Depending on what it is, we go from there and we work at it.
Yeah.
And it's really all comes down to in like a very strong foundation of communication. And you know what, and a lot of self-awareness and placing rules and guidelines in place just because we're self-aware of what we need and what we can't be around. So
Yeah.
that's really what the main difference is. That's really it. But in the end, we're just normal people.
Yeah.
We have normal. Well, I don't have a normal job. I wouldn't call my job normal. But
No.
she has a normal job. She
It's
goes to work every day.
extraordinary.
Yeah, and you know what? For most people, they go to work, and you know what? Most of us are submissive in a way. We go to an everyday job, and we non-consensually submit to somebody and do everything they ask because we need a paycheck. So we're not doing it because we want to do it. We're doing it because we have to, because we need to eat. We need to support our family. We need to pay our bills. When she comes home, she chooses to be with me because she actually knows that I'm there and I'm going to care for her. So, and she trusts me, and she trusts that everything that I do is really for the greater good. So, but we keep we keep a strong communication. We keep a good foundation of trust and loyalty, and we talk about everything, and we work out our issues that way.
And when she gets in trouble, what are her punishments?
Well, there are times where I, say if it's because I evaluate every time. I evaluate every situation. So sometimes there are just things that happen that are all completely off the wall. And you know what? I understand why she may have reacted to a certain thing. But say if there were like, there was really no reason for you to do that. You did it because you just didn't want to, take 2 extra seconds to do something.
You're being selfish or...
Yeah, you're being selfish or you're being lazy. Okay, so maybe I'll paddle her. I'll give her a spanking. And
but do you think she does things on purpose sometimes just to get spankings?
Sometimes she does enjoy it, but but sometimes with the punishment, it's really not a rewarding thing at all. So
what makes it less rewarding? Because you're just really mean?
Well, you know what it comes down to with basically getting a spanking without a warm up, and it can be pretty hard. So,
okay. I can't. You don't seem very mean.
I could be pretty mean. It depends. I try to keep it all together.
Right.
But a lot of the punishment side actually really is just the emotional aspect of it. So it's really a headspace that you're put into beforehand, and you know that it's not going to be fun, and you know that it's not going to be pleasurable, and it's gonna hurt. So you have that mindset going into it already. So your mind already knows that it's not a good thing, so it doesn't enjoy it.
Right.
So
but it has to probably be something pretty bad to get punished. Can you give me an example of something that's bad enough to get a punishment for?
I'm not going to go into a personal example just because of privacy. But one of our rules is that we do not fight. I'll use the lying example.
Okay.
All right.
Well, lying's pretty big. That's something that...
Lying's pretty big.
Yeah, that deserves a punishment.
Yeah, lying I cannot deal with.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you get punished for that.
Really different. Something that, that she didn't want to tell me about because she knew it would get me mad. So, you know what I'm going to take her? I'm going to basically issue a spanking. I'm going to move on after that, and we're going to talk about why this was an issue and why I really did it. Because you know what this does? It makes me feel like I can't trust you. And if I can't trust you, then we can't do everything that we actually do every single day without that in the back of my mind. And I don't want to live with that personally because it makes me unhealthy personally. So this is not working for the relationship. Right. And because you're going against the relationship, then we have to take some sort of disciplinary action because we agreed in the very beginning that we would do what is best for the relationship, even if it's uncomfortable talking about.
And then if she's like, you know what, like, I don't want to be spanked for this, I don't think it was that big of a deal, then would you have to break up?
Well,
because at the end, like, the submissive really does get the last say or whatever. Because she could, I don't know.
Yes. So, you know what? That is something I really don't want to, that's a bridge I don't really want to cross, but definitely that's usually when the relationship starts to turn for the worst.
That's when there's a lack of respect for the other person in general anyway.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
I get that. Earlier you were talking about the collar, and that sounds like a really beautiful ritual that you guys do every day.
Yes.
What kind of things do you appreciate that you try to let her know about?
Oh my God. Oh, she does. So, you know what? Some days I don't even really realize, like, some days I feel insignificant in this relationship. You know, I come home, she works all day. She comes home and then she scrubs the house. She makes sure
every day.
Not every single day.
Oh God, okay.
But you know, no. But she comes home and then, you know, she cooks dinner, or she helps me with my meal prep, or she helps me with basically getting things in order as far as like keeping everything organized on the calendar. So just reminding me every day, okay, you have this, you have that, because I being involved in the club, and everything else that I do, just trying to do work, I forget about my personal life. I forget about that I have a dentist appointment. I forget that I have all this other stuff going on. I forget that I've told my mom I was going to call her. You know, it's not anything disrespectful, but, you know, I just forget these things. I get caught up with life.
Your mom should give you a spanking, mister.
Look, I've dealt with that enough growing up, all right? So, but other than that, she's just, when I come home, like, she is my rock. Like, I come home and I know that with all this other craziness that goes on, I can come home to something stable. And it's really the biggest gift that anyone can give to me, you know? And I don't know, I'm very thankful to have her. And like I said, I don't know. She honors me as a person. She doesn't challenge me for what I think. She just tries to understand. And that's even with my crazy life with playing with numerous people, like maybe 3-4 different people a week. She understands that I'm coming back to her. And I'm going to do whatever I can to better this relationship as well. She does a lot for me.
Yeah, she sounds like a catch.
Yeah, she is. So.
What is your favorite kind of kink apparatus that you use when you dom? Do you know what I mean?
Because I'm a sensualist, I try to incorporate that into every single thing that I do.
Right.
So, yes, I do enjoy flogging and impact and whips. And I actually have been really, I really like fire, though. I really like playing with fire a lot. It's extremely intense, but it can be super sensual, and it's very hard to get. Is that
when you just move it like super slowly over them?
Yeah, actually, okay, so fire play. Basically what I'll take is a like a cotton, like a wand that soaks it up. It's a gauze wand, and it soaks up with alcohol. You light it up, and then you rub it onto their skin, and it basically leaves like an alcohol, like a trail of burning alcohol on their skin. But there's that tiny space between the fire and your skin that's created by the actual alcohol that's on the skin, and it only burns the alcohol, and it's only, and your skin only feels the warmth, but it doesn't get burned. So because it's fire, it's super intense, and you can feel their energy go through the roof because of fear or just the intensity of the fire in general. But you're not harming them. It's just a very intense sensation play.
Yeah, I'm like kind of always been like scared of fire. So
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, ever since, like I said, I was burned when I was a kid. So
well, you set yourself on fire. It's a little, it's a little different. But yeah, I guess you learned your lesson, but not really.
Yeah, so it wasn't, it took me a long time to get into fire because I was just afraid of it. But once I realized, like, I was still doing, I go camping my whole life. So I was still doing campfires and everything. And I've learned how fire works just by being an outdoorsy guy.
Because I don't like being even at campfires. Like, I don't like being too close because I feel like my face is like melting. And I don't like that feeling. So I don't know if I would like the feeling of fire play.
It's nothing like that. I'm not going to melt your face.
Right.
So I'm not.
But do you know that feeling when you're by fires? Or I don't know if that, I like camps, I would have to like go to the other side and I'd always like have to move because it like always like made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, actually, if you look, that's actually from prolonged exposure to the heat. So because you're actually standing by where the heat rises from the flame. This way, when you do fire play, you're actually below.
You're the log.
Yeah, basically the log. So it's underneath you, and the heat rises. So you're not getting hit with all that heat. It's only above you, like floating on top of you.
That sounds cool, like fire floating on top of you.
Yeah, but it's actually, like I said, it's actually only a split second. It's not even. It's only a second or two that it's actually on fire. So I just take it off before you get burned.
Right. So that's one of your like favorites because it's sensual and it can be relaxing as well. Yeah,
I like that. I like bondage a lot. I do like bondage because they're.
Do you mean like cuffs and like ropes or?
Yeah, it could be cuffs. It could be rope. It could be.
Bondage just means like tying someone or making someone stuck in a position.
Yeah, so bondage means that you are completely stuck in the position that I put you in. So I could even do it with my arms. Like I can put you in like a half Nelson and force you down.
I know that because my brother used to be on the wrestling team in high school.
Yeah, so I can actually just put you down and then hold you in that position, and
that's considered bondage.
Considered bondage because you're stuck in that position until I let you go. So, I mean, I could hold you in that position and spank. I can tie you up and then basically, do a lot of mind games with you and make you feel like you're in danger when really you're not. I mean, I'm not going to do anything to hurt anybody.
Yeah. Do you like making people feel little? Like
sometimes.
Unimportant?
It's a very incredible feeling of power. Sometimes when I play with men, it's incredible to take a man that's almost twice the size of me and completely tie him up, throw him around, and make him completely do things that he submit to me in ways that he wouldn't submit to anybody at all, and then make him feel scared on top of that and make him feel insignificant and bring his ego from way up here all the way down to almost nothing and make him feel insignificant. That's power. It basically just make him completely give up all of his dominance. And to the point where he actually starts to beg me just to not hurt him or just to, because he's scared to death. And that's just a complete, that's power.
Yeah.
That is incredible to have over somebody.
Yeah. And do you think you kind of are getting addicted to that feeling instead of like drugs? You're getting a little bit addicted to feeling the power? Even though it's like healthy because it's consensual and then you can let it go afterwards. But is that what you like?
Well, to be honest with you, this is the kind of thing I've always really enjoyed. So I guess I'm addicted to it. I guess it's just part of who I am.
Right.
But I don't know. Once that switch flicks in my head, I go with it until we're done. And it's just, I don't ever want to give that up, no.
Right. Does it really feel like a switch?
Sometimes. Yeah. It all depends. Like I said, it's all an energy exchange between me and someone else.
Right.
So sometimes it goes off, like once I start to feel that they're starting to let me in and control their mind, then I usually just go with it, and it's not really just a switch like that. It's just sometimes it's a slow.
You feel
build
it like
up
overtaking.
Yeah, it's just a slow build up, and it's a slow break. They're breaking down slowly,
right?
And eventually, I'm just in complete control.
It's like when you're putting on the clutch and the gas off at the same time. You guys are going in a different direction.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of millennials probably won't get that because I bet many of them don't. I've never drove a stick shift.
I think a stick shift is the best anti-theft device out there today.
That's a good point.
How to drive it.
And I think it's a good analogy to the change of the power exchange as they move. I don't know. It's the first time I thought about it. What happens when you're you're getting paid to do a job? What happens when you're having an off day?
Sometimes because, like I said, it's either so sometimes I'm having an off day. Sometimes I just don't connect with the person.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really just the longest hour of my life.
Right.
But you know what? Once I really start getting into it, usually that snaps me out of a bad day.
Right.
Because I'm doing what I love, and I'm doing
right.
everything that, I just love to do.
So first you probably focus solely on the skills that you've been taught until you're finally back into the place where you can emotionally become more involved.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes 10, 15 minutes to really get out of my own headspace and get out of my own way. But after a while, it really just kicks in, and we just, me, along with the other mistresses, and probably most people that do this kind of work, really just once they kick into that overdrive, it really we give wonderful sessions to everybody that we actually work with.
Yeah, because it's a lot of energy that you're giving.
It's all energy. It's all about energy,
and it's got to be exhausting sometimes.
That's
when
one
you're
of the
done.
reasons. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I started to go into Reiki. I'm trying to train myself with Reiki with somebody, but basically, it is a complete energy exchange with every single person that we work with.
Right.
So energy work is really what we are. The implements and the touch and everything that goes in the mind games, that all comes second. But the energy connection between me and another person is really what it's all about. And a lot of times when I have a client that comes to me, he doesn't realize, he or she, they might be struggling in their marriage, or they might be struggling with, they might just be lonely in general. And what they might be coming to me for a release, but really what they want is that a lot of times is really just that connection with another person who really, really sees them for who they are and is really able to play their heartstrings a little. And it's something that, as doing this professional, I've gotten better and better and better at just identifying certain things by what I feel, and I'm able to go with that. But for a lot of people, they don't realize that they just need a little bit extra in their marriage, or they just don't really have a connection with another person, so they reach out to me. And I'm able to give that to them, even though it's only for an hour or 2 hours. But they're able to leave, and they're able to actually have that satisfied feeling and be able to go on with their everyday life a little bit more effectively. So, and actually handle their own stresses in life because they actually had that void filled.
I like to chat with my guests at the end of every episode about something that's like a sexual bucket list thing that you haven't got to do before that you would like to try.
I don't know. I think, honestly, of everything that I've done, I've actually never had a threesome with 2 women.
Okay.
I've never actually. That's actually one of the things I just want to do. I don't know. That's on my bucket list.
I think that's very doable.
Yeah. I think so too. I just, it takes a special person that really, that I can trust, but also I don't want them I don't know. I'm choosy about who I'm with because I don't want that emotional attachment again, because it's really not what I'm looking for.
Right. And you don't want to put any stress onto your submissive.
That, and you know what? I also do this professionally, and I don't want a bad reputation about anything either.
Right.
But
someday.
yeah, so that's up there.
Yeah. That was a simple, easy one. Get her done. You'll get there when you want to. I'm sure if you wanted it right now, you could have it. But when you're ready to have it, you'll make it happen.
When I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, let me know any updates that I can update people with. And thank you so much for taking your time to be with us, you sexy sensualist, you.
Hey, it's been a pleasure, Miranda.
Have fun in Maryland when you go do your show.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, talk to you later.
All right, see you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Well, ain't that some beautiful shiznit? I think it'd be awesome if we all had a ritual every day where we told the person that we care about how much we care about them and what they bring into our lives. I learned a lot. Thanks, Mondo. Let's all take a moment to be grateful that we live in a place and a time in this world that we can have sex with who and how we want. And let's send out our thoughts and prayers to those who did not ever have that choice. There's nothing that I can think of that's worse than child sex trafficking, and 10% of any profit from this show will go to help stop sex trafficking. Thank you for your support. I can't wait to see you next Tuesday to find out what the pussy drags in. Thank you to the band 41 for this super rad song, 41music.net.
Listen very carefully, and when I say now, I want you to have sex. Now.
Yeah.